This is the Hospitality Podcast with Benedict Fornaro.
A very good morning, good afternoon, evening, wherever you are, whatever you do, commuting, driving, or just doing your laundry. Welcome to episode 1 of the Hospitality Podcast. It is a pleasure that you tune in. My name is Benedict Fornaro. Today's topic is how to reduce OTA commissions by 20%. I know that is an ambitious target, but I also know this is on everybody's, or at least every hotelier's mind, and I thought this would be a good topic to tackle right on at episode 1. Online travel agencies, OTA, the harmless 3-letter acronym, causes chills and goosebumps for bipolar reasons. On one side, there is the glory of worldwide accessibility. Literally anyone can book your hotel and you attract guests from selected markets without even going there once. On the other side, the pure essence of evil, the stinginess of the experience and fun-seeking adventurists looking for the cheapest deal. This essence comes in the dress of commissions. Oh yeah, OTAs take anything between 12 and 30% of your reservation value. Imagine every 100 Swiss francs costs you up to 30 Swiss francs. Taking a loan is cheaper these days. In 2018, just below 40% of hotel bookings were made through OTAs. If your hotel is lower, be happy and enjoy the sweet win. If you're above, better listen up. But this is not where it ends. Skift states in its 2019 travel megatrends that OTAs are due to diversify their business, so they will target not only hotel stays but activities around that. Hold on to your seats as OTAs seek to enter your restaurant bookings, tour recommendations and all these activities that you can sell at the moment to your guest in person while they're checking in. On the good side, studies in 2018 showed that direct bookings have experienced uplift even with rather simple efforts such as offering guests a reduced rate when booking directly at the hotel. The question is obvious: how to reduce your commission expenses by 20% and still stay visible for your clientele around the world. I discussed this topic with Ian Millar. Ian is Senior Lecturer IT and Entrepreneurship at Ecole Hôtelière de Lausanne in Switzerland. Ian is one of the most inspiring people I've met during my time at EHL. When looking Ian up on Google, and I recommend you to do that, you'll find all sorts of impressive achievements in the hospitality and technology industry. This guy is everywhere. Without diminishing those achievements though, I want to point out Ian's incredible positivism and his motivation to get stuff done. When I asked Ian if he would like to know more about the Hospitality Podcast, Ian was not like, sure, I'm open for anything. Ian was like, here is an invite for a call, followed by an invite to meet and record episode 1. And here we are. This is how he rules. So Ian, thank you so much for joining me today. I have to change the microphone now, so the sound quality for our listeners will decrease a little bit. However, the quality of what's said is increasing dramatically.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be with you, Ben.
Well, Ian, looking at trends and reports, one might get the impression that the dependency on OTAs is going to further increase and the balance of who's profiting from the collaboration between OTAs and hoteliers is far away. How do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's been discussed for many years. The issue with hotels and OTAs is the sort of you don't live with them, but you can't live without them. Mm-hmm. Without going back too far in history, it was our lack as an industry of technology investment that gave way to Expedia and Booking taking over what was essentially a manual process that hotels did, and we were very much laggards in the whole internet world. So that's why Booking and Expedia have become so strong, because they took something over that we should have done ourselves in the industry, but we just didn't.
Technology was seen as something to make processes more efficient for a very long time instead of gaining customers, I think, until the early 2000s.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, so it was a missed opportunity by us.
Yeah.
But also, we need to remember, way being respectful. It was something easier for big chains to do because of money investment. You could put together IT teams. But if you're a small independent hotel of 50, 60 rooms, there's no way at that time you could have done that yourself. It just would have been too difficult and complex. However, now we're in 2019, things are a lot easier and a lot more tools exist the hoteliers could and should be adopting to help them become more digital, especially in the customer acquisition.
Yeah. So let's say I'm a small hotelier, anything between 20 and 100 rooms, and up to 40-50% of my bookings come through OTAs, and I spend quite a bit of money every month on commissions. Where would you start thinking about what could be done in order to reduce those commissions or get customers directly?
Well, the first thing I'd recommend for any hotelier listening is, number one, pull out your Booking.com contract and read it. I'm surprised on how many people haven't actually read every single word that's in there. I think you'd be quite shocked at some of the things you've signed off from if you haven't actually fully read it.
Yeah.
So first, I think that's important because then that will understand and set the boundaries for your relationship and what you can and cannot do in regards to OTAs.
Yeah.
So do that as a step one. Step two, now want to drive more direct bookings. I think it's important is have a look at your current customer base, what platforms are coming from, how they're booking with you. So OTAs, hopefully on your own hotel website. I think we'll discuss more about that.
Yeah.
Is it phone, email, reservation? So already understand that. Then once you know your customer base, it's then, okay, what part of that do you then want to push towards more direct bookings?
Yeah.
So for example, we put this down to a cost of acquisition. Do you really want to spend time, money and effort targeting a guest who's going to originally book through Booking.com, who's probably only going to stay with you one night because they're traveling through and they're never going to come back? For me personally, I would let that one go.
So if you have basically one guest from India, one guest from China, you don't have to particularly work on those because they come once and they go again. But maybe if you start having a little bit of pickup out of one market, let's say you see over and over reservations out of India, you have 4, 5, up to 10, 15 reservations through Booking.com, then you say it's worth starting to look how to divert those customers to your website.
One part, yes, from where they're coming from. If they, for example, Indian example, or it could be from China, wherever, that then if you are going to, for example, you have Chinese guests, you would need to have your website and your booking tool in Chinese.
Yeah.
Because obviously language would be a language advantage for them. But I think it's more of, analysing your repeat guests. And if you're seeing repeat guests from Booking, then those are the people you need and should be converting. Because, if they're booking, they're coming with you once a month for 2 nights, and it's a business guy who does business in wherever you are, those are the ones you want to be targeting.
Yeah. Okay. That means you engage with them while they're at the hotel, and you make sure that they book with you directly. Can you tell us something about what should be in place so bookings are made easily more easily through the website, instead of customer that is used to the Booking.com app, for instance, already, and knows where is what button? So what can a hotelier do on his website and his services to make it easy to the customer?
Yeah, I think one is that definitely have obviously a website for your hotel. I know this has been a bit of contention for some hoteliers because in the past it was very expensive to build a website, and even more expensive to have a booking engine inside. There are tools out there now, platforms that I know of, that are essentially website builders for hotels. Yeah. And the onboarding process is literally 10-15 minutes. And you just profile your property, set it up, and then you're live on the internet with your hotel website, definitions, opening hours, location, and all the parts that you need.
Sure.
And obviously photos, obviously imagery is very important, and an online booking tool. But I think it's important, I know we were discussing this earlier, a booking tool doesn't mean you click on a button and it starts an email, and then the guest has to send an email request to the hotel. That goes against what all the online platforms do, where it's instant.
Yeah.
And it has to be instant.
It's so painful when you only get a confirmation of your request instead of a confirmation of your room.
Correct, yes.
Yeah.
So I think that's where we were 10 years ago.
Yeah.
This click to ask a question, which is basically replacing phoning the hotel.
Yeah.
So if the guests are booking online, it has to be an instant confirmation back to them, just because we are now living in an instant world. You're no longer, if you're booking a flight, for example, even down from EasyJet or Austrian Air, whoever it is, you're not going to want to make the request and then say, okay, we'll tell you if you get your flight in 24 hours. No, you want to know now, and you're probably even going to be choosing your seat during the booking process. So it's a bit like making a booking with a hotel and even choosing the room. That's what people are used to nowadays.
Yeah. How do you see, social media coming into play for bookings? We know Instagram is coming up with new tools to click and pay, for instance. Is that something a hotel should look into closer, or what's your suggestion there? Is it even something that is competing with OTAs, or is it another channel?
I think it's another channel. The interesting part here is, if you are going to look at more social media, there's different things you do. One is just exposure, just so people can visualize your property. This has really been the power of Instagram. They say, a picture says 1,000 words.
Yeah.
Personally, I think Instagram will almost become more powerful than Facebook.
Yeah, and GIFs even more.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's also, if you think generationally, and everyone's talking a lot about millennials. I think the interesting one is Gen Z, who, they call them the digital natives. These are people who haven't had a day in their life without technology.
Yeah.
So the people who are now sort of 17, 18, 19, well, they are soon going to be your guests. Yeah. And they are 100% mobile centric. They are driven by social media. They're driven by apps, and they are driven by everything being instant.
Yeah.
If you do have a teenage son and a daughter, they're going to WhatsApp you. If you don't reply instantly because they see that you've read the message, they're going to say about, hey, Dad, you didn't answer me.
Yeah.
Why do you
I need this answer right now.
Yeah. It's been studies have shown their attention span of millennial was 12 seconds. Gen Z is 8 seconds.
Within those 8 seconds, they make buying decisions, though,
yes.
right? Which means they may regret these decisions afterwards, and they have to be able to cancel their reservations or their buying decision in the afterwards without spending money. Or do you think there is a certain flexibility from the hotel in regards to that?
Yeah, and I think we've seen this in more and more airlines are doing this, but also things like Zalando, where you can purchase and then send back. Obviously, this is physical goods, so shoes, trousers, etc. But if we look at the airline, they've always been good inspiration for us when it comes to technology. Revenue management, that was an airline invention.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You'll see more ways you can book your flights now, already confirm and pay, but then you have 72 hours to cancel.
Yeah.
For no charge.
Yeah.
And I think that's very interesting because it gives people peace of mind. So yes, I've made my booking. This could be for your hotel booking. I want it done and it's booked instantly, but I've still got a couple of things I need to check and confirm, and I have that option to say, oh, finally I'm not going to make it. I can cancel it.
Yeah.
And I think hotels that do that and for a non-commission, no charge, I think that's a very interesting strategy and something that should be looked more into.
So let's say I'm a hotelier that has more than 50% of my bookings are generated through OTAs, and now I would try to reduce that number. I would be afraid to lose business by diverting reservations from OTAs to my website and actually displease the OTA and lose visibility, for instance.
I wouldn't worry that much about it. I mean, especially if you're a small independent. If you manage to shift 5% of your Booking.com reservations to direct bookings, firstly, are they really going to worry too much about this?
Probably not.
Probably not. Yeah. If suddenly this was Hilton, that's a different story. So I think that's firstly one there. I think this also comes back really to my first point, reading the contract. Know where you stand from a legal standpoint, and if you are successful in moving people to direct booking and you're not doing anything contractually wrong, then if your OTA, as you said, decides to maybe shift you to page 2 and punish you, well, you have a contract in place. Yeah. So, and if they do that, you then have more a legal standpoint to say, well, you know what, that in my contract, it was stated that.
Let's say rate parities comes up every now and then. Rate parity is gone in Switzerland, so you can go below price that Booking.com, for instance, offers to its guests, right?
Correct.
Yeah, just to make sure that this is very clearly stated.
Yes, no, and I think there it's also, if you're doing your own website, differentiation. If you said on Booking.com, I can book a single room, if on your own website, for the same price, I can have my room, but it's also with a beautiful view of the Matterhorn, and or you get breakfast included, and or you get something else, it's a different package, rate parity wouldn't even apply.
Absolutely.
It's only when you sell the exact product. Interesting enough, I read an article where Booking.com is stating they're looking into, of whatever price you put a room on your hotel website, they will offer it 10% cheaper on Booking.com. Automatically. How that's going to work,
and pressure they get from the political side, they're actually allowed to do that. I'm not quite sure yet. If it's Europe, Switzerland, or anywhere in the world.
I'm not sure. I think that was maybe more of a sort of a marketing article. I'd like to see that put into practice because I can't see how that will work.
Okay.
So I wouldn't worry too much about that for the moment.
How do you see OTAs evolve in the upcoming years? How far away are they from controlling experiences that the guests are now booking at the hotels, and the hotel maybe has a certain commission on it, on activities or so? Do you think this is something to watch out as a hotelier?
Yeah, I mean, it's already happening. If you look at, and again, our other challenge, Airbnb, Airbnb push experiences first before actually renting a house. And it's also very, again, back to the generational aspect, these Gen Z and late millennials, it's all experience-based. Mm-hmm. We want to go on a scuba diving weekend in Spain. It's not, let's book a hotel and
doesn't matter where to stay, how to get there.
Correct. So it's, they're taking that angle first.
Mm-hmm.
I think where it will get interesting with the OTAs is I believe they'll start capturing on-property feedback. So you as a guest, where you may want to call reception and say, I know hot water for my shower, I want extra soap, etc., whatever it may be, I think Expedia will start, and others booking will start encroaching into what's happening in the guest stay, and then becoming a platform where the hotels will receive information from the guests through the OTA.
So they sneak into this communication.
Yes. Which, one, it makes sense for the OTA because then they generate data. And nowadays everything is data driven. But I find it worrying the fact that they've come into the reservation world, number one, but now they're coming to hotel operations as well. I think this is something hotels need to be very reactive to. Probably actually push back as well.
Could there be a potential for information sources, let's say, to be a little bit devil's advocate or the Expedia's advocate? Let's say I'm a hotel in a city, and Expedia can tell me, you know what, in your region or in your city, guests ask repeatedly for Italian food. This is something, you have an F&B concept which is not working too well. Why don't you try Italian? Because every guest in the area is looking for an Italian restaurant, because they know that, because they interact with the guest while they are in the region. Do you think this is some sort of a catalyst of information that the hoteliers are not sharing at the moment within each other?
Yeah, and I think this is this is the real power of data. I mean, I know one hotel, which I won't mention their name, where they were having actually quite bad reviews on their breakfast. And this is a 5-star property in the US. And they couldn't work out why, because everything else is great. 5-star reviews all around, but breakfast couldn't work it out. So they actually analysed social media posts and TripAdvisor comments, date and time, with point of sale data, and that they found out over 80% of the guests were actually doing modification to their eggs during those times. And they only had a standard egg menu, fried, scrambled, boiled, poached, etc. So they then changed it and said, complete customise your eggs. Breakfast reviews, straight back up positive.
So pretty simple solution, right?
Very, very simple. And I think interesting one here, I know platforms are already doing this, where they will say, for example, of your guests, German guests are giving you quite negative reviews on your breakfast buffet. Our recommendation to you will be, put on this new product because this is what Germans are currently eating for their breakfast. So this is really where big data starts playing a role. So it's being able to look at and understand data in order to better improve hotel operations.
Yeah. So what do you think about alternatives that are out there for the big OTAs, the ones that we know, at least in Europe, like Booking.com, Expedia, etc. There are startups like Bidroom or so that are trying to not fight the duopoly that they have, but be a little bit more on the hotelier side and say, we offer best prices to our guests, but we make sure that the hoteliers are still having their fair share out of this deal.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a presentation from Bidroom the other day, and I find their model interesting. And again, so subscription based. And again, going back to this whole generational thing, we are living subscription lives. If you have Netflix, you're paying a subscription. You have Spotify, subscription. So it's also a way we're used to paying for services. And I think it's an interesting model. Others have tried it, like Voyage Privé and others. So I think the OTAs will start getting new competitors. So what do you think? Hotels should do the fight themselves through their own, drive it through their own website, but also start exploring different things like Bidroom and alternative bookings. Definitely.
Yeah. And what do you think about the large players that are out there already? Because the startups that are trying to build up something, but companies, established companies that enter the travel industry, such as Google, or I don't know if Amazon is looking at, may look at travel services as well, because it's something people do on a daily basis. Do you think there is a real potential there?
Yeah, I mean, Google, they've all sort of dipped their toe in this area, and they sort of try it and they don't. So I think Google's a bit of a weird one to understand. If they did, they would probably win it. Although I think who would cap them if they did come into the travel industry would be Amazon. Just because they are so good at it, and more interesting, they know so much about us and what we purchase and when, and what is our purchasing power. That's why Amazon made so much money.
Because they suggest to you what you want.
Correct.
Yeah, before you know it.
Yes, and their suggestions are so good. So if Amazon came into this, it wouldn't be I wouldn't find it strange if they did, just because they could. And also they have shareholders to please. They want to explore new lines of business. They now have the Amazon Go stores. So Amazon, and they have the money to do this. The platform's already there. The customer base is there.
It's there. The knowledge there.
It's just for them. It'll be a new product line. So
exciting to see what's happening there.
And the thing with all these startups is, if they do start getting market traction, what will happen? Booking.com will buy them. Absolutely. That's been the model of TripAdvisor. They have 12 companies in the family. They've never built anything apart from TripAdvisor. They just buy them.
Because they're too big already to have the innovation going on within the company. But if they're successful startups, they just incorporate them.
And that's also been the model of Google. What if our engineers leave and set up a spin-off company? Google actually like it because they'll observe the spin-off company, and if they get good, they just buy them.
Exciting times to come. So let's summarize point of view hotelier, the do's and don'ts in regards to OTAs trying to reduce the painful commissions that you pay every month.
What I would do is, step one, get your own hotel website with a direct booking engine. So at least the platform is there to enable guests to book direct with you. If you don't have that set up, they're not going to book direct.
Make it easy to them.
Make it easy. I think that's step one. I think another thing to do is also try to increase direct guest interaction. I don't know if you saw, WhatsApp now brought out WhatsApp Business. So you can literally direct chat through WhatsApp with a hotel guest before, during, after. These are chat platforms. Is something that literally everybody use every day.
Preferred way of communication. You can talk to them right away.
Yeah, and especially younger generations. So if you had a guest who come and stay, say, hey, you want to come back with us, just send us a WhatsApp. Give us your dates and times and we'll do that. You're making it super easy for the guest to interact with you. This is a quick 15-20 minute setup. So I think is find ways to increase more direct communication with your guests.
And on top, on the hotelier side, it's much easier to send a confirmation on WhatsApp or so
It's easier for the hoteliers, but it's better for your guests as well. It's just because we now live a more sort of chat life than anything. And again, coming back to the younger generation, this is how they communicate. I even read this one article. It was 1 in 3 Generation Z. They text people that they are physically with.
Okay. Yeah, because they're on that tool already and they are used to talking to people.
So it's an instant experience.
Yeah.
It's a mobile experience, and the hotels that start picking up this mindset, I think they'll see good success.
Okay. Well, Ian, thank you very much. This is very insightful. I'm sure that many hoteliers are eager to find out more about this topic. I would like to encourage our listeners to join the discussion. Reach out to me at ben@fornaro-hospitality.com.
Amazing Services with the Hospitality Podcast.
In the side segment, Amazing Services, I would like to point out a service experience my guest and I had recently that struck us as super strong. So Ian, what service struck you as amazing recently?
I think the one I'll put in is, and I would consider it a service, being a techie guy, and I think this could be good inspiration just for the chat we've had for hoteliers, is EasyJet. Is using the EasyJet app to book flights.
Okay. What makes it so amazing to you?
Because it's so simple. The user interface, design, and I use other airline apps, and I'm not going to start dissing any of them, but I just find the ease of use. The booking process, check in, download your boarding pass, it's just the pure simplicity of it.
Do they talk to you as well when there are delays, or when you to manage your day, when you have an EasyJet flight sometimes during the day?
I'll get a text message from them, about gate. So you actually see your gate on your app before you sit at the airport. Which I just find that slightly amusing and makes me giggle. But no, it's a thing like, they have flight tracker in there. You can see where your flight is. And you see it's just taken off from Brussels, coming out of Geneva. I'm not going to go to the gate because I can know where the plane is. I think that's the simplicity, the transparency. I think that's just a great inspiration, a good example of, you had one job to do and you've done it very, very well.
Okay.
So I think that's the one I'd put on.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Ian. That was wonderful information. As you can hear, I'm back to the single microphone just to revisit a few of Ian's thoughts on reducing OTA commissions. First, read the contract that is in place with the OTA. Maybe connect with your industry organizations if you have any questions. Second, fight for regular guests, which means have your website in the language where your guests are most likely to come to your hotel most regularly. Promote your website in that region. You can do that on social media down to the very zip code, for instance. Third, engage at the hotel with regular guests. Tell them that you want them to book directly. That's okay. You can set up even a small loyalty program. Fourth, make it easy for them to book a room, which means on your website it should be possible to pick and book a room and then receive a confirmation right away. This is what Booking.com, for instance, makes so beautifully, that you can book, select and confirm a room by 11 o'clock at night. Nowadays, it is not that expensive anymore to set that up for your hotel individually. And then fifth, review your communication strategy. Are you actually talking to the guests on their medium that they actually prefer? Is email always the right thing? Or maybe they want to get a call, or they want to talk to you on WhatsApp. All that is pretty simple to set up at your hotel. You can just let the guest decide what he prefers. And that's about it for episode 1. How cool is that? For questions, comments or ideas, just reach out to me. I am your host, Benedict Fornaro. Hotels, concepts consulting are my calling. You find me on LinkedIn and Facebook, or on my website, fornaro-hospitality.com. One of my preferred ways to get in touch is over a perfectly brewed doppio espresso, basically anywhere in the world. At the moment, I'm pretty much in Zurich, Switzerland, but hey, I'm open for anything. Bye for now and see you soon.